I think you all might know Greg. Greg is the equities guru at JMMB. You know, he might make plenty money too. So I welcome Greg to come and give us some context around stock price, where JMMB, how JMMB trades, why it trades like that, how is the cross listing going, and why, and what occurs between Trinidad and Jamaica, with that cross listing. But I'm gonna go high level first, in terms of JMMB. What differentiates JMMB, and what differentiates JMMB is our clients, how we engage with our clients. That's one. Two, yeah, man, back. The culture of JMMB, and people hear about it and them say, what kind of thing is that? Is a cult thing going on over there? What is this about? You know what I mean? What is this love thing about? What is this vision of love about, right? Well, really, it is about just mutual love and respect for all, and being able to engage in a way that's constructive, engage in a way that's authentic, engage in a way that is honest, and engage in a way where we don't carry feelings, engage in a way where we don't gossip on people, right? Of course, you're going to have some of that, but once we encounter it, we have a responsibility to stamp it out, right? So therefore, you get pure energy, as pure as possible, because everybody moving in the same direction, and you don't have you minimize internal conflicts and those little internal things that can occur. That's minimized as much as possible. Not to say they don't have the strong personalities, because Simon, who was at JMMB, knows some of the strong personality them there already, but we do have strong personalities, and sometimes we have to manage and balance it all. So the culture is very important, but client intimacy is the key. How do you engage with your clients, and how do you position yourself now with your clients? Then there's another plank around our diversification strategy. There's regional diversification. There is business line diversification. 10, 12 years ago, JMMB was an investment company, just a straight investment company. We diversified into Trinidad. We bought 50% of a commercial bank in Trinidad. We started our securities business called our Puesta de Bolsa in the Dominican Republic, and we acquired the Capital and Credit Financial Group in 2012. Now, and then we had startups from then. We had startups in Trinidad with our securities company, because we had to get the securities company to integrate with the bank. And we had startups in the Dominican Republic with our mutual funds company called the SAFI. We had startups with our pension administration company in the Dominican Republic. And we had startups with our buying a very small merchant bank, savings and loan bank in the Dominican Republic, right? So we diversify across business lines. And we diversify across business lines in Trinidad. And with the Capital and Credit Financial Group, we got diversified. So we have a diversified group by region and by business lines. And then we make strategic acquisitions. We're all aware of where JMMB is the largest shareholder in Sagicor Financial Group, at around 23% of the Sagicor Finance Group, right? So there is diversification of revenue streams by business line, by region, and otherwise, right? That is the strategy. Now, when you have all of these business lines and all of these across regions, what do? You have to ensure that you can still deliver seamlessly through in our products and services. And then we have to integrate as much as possible, and I'm going to have Jessica speak to that area. Standardize as much as possible product delivery procedures, everything. And then we also have to ensure that we are selling. What we found is that when you have your securities company and your bank, and everybody deposits a compete against repo and against your funds, you have to integrate and start with the client. What are you delivering to your client? You're delivering solutions. You're helping them to reach their goals. And you do that with your suite of products and services across business lines. And therefore, we create segments. So therefore, you have segment leads and they lead the segments right across all business lines. And their role, whether it's corporate, SME, retail, their role is to integrate and sell products and services to meet the needs and the aspirations of our clients. So that is how you deliver products and services. And that is always work in progress. That is always work in progress. I'm sure you guys, a lot of you guys know Mr. Alwyn Cousins, who heads over the corporate area, and he's doing a tremendous job in that regard. So you talk about integration. Now there's the operational efficiency and the standardization and the integration of the business lines. There's also digitization because the world is changing rapidly on us. And JMMB, we had to break out digital because when we found that we had it in the mix with IT, that how you prioritize was based on IT projects versus digital projects, and we had to separate and say digital is, we have to separate that out because we want that digital experience. And I know we're going to get cussed about mobile app, but and all them something there, but we're here to deal with that today and to share with you guys where we are with that whole digital rollout, right? So so everyone gets the diversification across business lines and across regions. And through the Dominican Republic, our plan is to expand our footprint into Central America. We have a very active business development portfolio where we are constantly cycling through acquisition opportunities once they fit, right? And we always have something that looks like it's going to fit, but then you know the process you have to go through, right? You have to go through your due diligence, and you have to go negotiate, you have to go through your board governance process, and then you have to go through your, if you get to a point, you share purchase agreement, all of those various things. And but we have a very, very active pipeline, and we want this because JMMB Group, we intend to expand our footprint. Even in this downturn, we are not letting up. We keep pushing forward, right? What I'm going to ask Jessica now to kind of give us the whole operation side, the efficiency, standardization, integration, digital, and the way we're going. So thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. We can talk further and take questions, etc.
Thanks, Keith. Thanks, Simon. Good evening, everyone. I'm Jessica Johnson, and I'm the head of Group Chain Support Services, which is essentially our project management office at JMMB. We have a very expansive project portfolio, and Keith would have touched on some of the key projects that are coming through our portfolio. And how we've segmented our portfolio is, as Keith said, we wanted that focus on digitization of our channels for the client's benefit. And so items like the mobile app, online onboarding, and other products in the digital realm, expansion in the payments area, are flowing through our digital services portfolio, which has special focus and for which we're using, very cutting edge project management methodologies, agile and otherwise, because we recognize that our clients need these products and services. Our clients have been waiting and asking for it on all media channels and in branch, etc. And so we have organized ourselves to deliver our project execution in such a way so that we can prioritize delivering in the digital channels, prioritize delivering in the digital space with the client's best interests at heart. Of course, there are other factors such as regulatory approvals, etc., that affect how fast we deliver, but we can tell you that we have structured ourselves so that we can deliver as quickly as possible. And that mobile app is coming soon. You can put my word towards it, right? It's September. It's September we have. So you can look for it for the mobile app, yes. Point of sale coming up in September too, around September. For credit card, we're doing some preliminary work and looking into all of that. As you know, as I said, it's subject to regulatory approval, and we're looking at all our options in the payment space. But as we get closer to those launch dates, we'll, as is customary, will provide more details, right? So I can tell you, I am under stress. We are focused on making sure that we can deliver in those areas because we've heard the clients cry. And as Keith also mentioned, we have several pots on fire because while we're focusing on digital, we're also focusing on the efficiency side, right? And for us here as informed stakeholders, you would know that the efficiency ratio or operational efficiency, all those things that contribute towards our profitability and how we're performing as a group are heavily dependent on how much we make our processes efficient, how we can leverage standardization and centralization, even as we're a group of companies that is keen on diversifying and expanding regionally. We will have to be able to develop the capability to scale, right? Because we can't just keep adding on infinitum without gaining some benefit from scale and similarity of operations and centralizing operations. So those projects are also in our portfolio, and we've organized ourselves, as I said, in such a way where we can focus on delivering the client experience in the digital space, even while we're still just as much focused as improving our efficiency to the benefit of the stakeholders. Win, 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 as we like to say, right?
Yeah, if you could touch on the standardization of the banking platform.
Sure. So Keith asked me to touch on the standardization of the banking platform, and I'll do that quickly because I know these are the two more exciting panelists that you have here, right? But standardization, we have been on a program of standardization as a part of our thrust in developing that foundation for efficiency and that foundation for scale. And we recently have completed standardization in of our core banking system in our three banks in the region, Jamaica, Trinidad, and DR. They use the same core banking system. And what that will mean for us is that as we're focused on delivering in the digital space, when we deliver our product in one market, it will be faster for us to deliver it in each of the other markets because they are coming from the same system, because we have standardized processes. And we have another mantra in JMMB. Apart from one love is one group, one client, one experience, right? The experience that we're seeking to deliver through our digital channels, through each of the territories, and even as we expand regionally, we're hoping to deliver that consistency. So what our stakeholders and clients expect and receive in any market in Jamaica, they can also expect to receive as we grow regionally as well, right? So that's standardization is really the foundation of what we're doing. We started off with the banking business line. We're going to be looking next at portfolio management, investment, and funds. That's coming right on the heels of completing for bank. And so we're just grateful and excited because we think we've set ourselves up to deliver big things in short order, right? So thank you for your patience, right? We're setting ourselves up to continue to wow you, right? So
Thank you, Jess. Simon? Just to say one thing, because a significant amount of resources, capital expenditure and resources has gone into this over the last couple of years. And you hear us at AGM, and we say it coming and it coming. Right, Simon? And yeah. Come on, you can load me.
No, that's where I was going. I was going to say for the last few years now, we've been hearing from the JMMB team. Firstly, guys, just nice see. When she talk to you and she say, we're going to do this, you just feel it, you feel it. But we've been hearing the JMMB group team speak about the standardization of the bank system and how an integrated system will help not just JMMB, Jamaica, but across the Caribbean as well. So I guess my key question here is September the inside timeline or the outside timeline for the app?
An online onboarding.
yes, an online onboarding. Well,
So
so I would say they're both in the same initiative called the Digital Banking Platform Upgrade, and September is, I would say, our expected timeline at this time. You like my answer? Not inside or outside. Expected at this time, and we're pushing to make sure we can meet that expectation.
And Lauren should really be up here now because Lauren is our client insight man. You understand what I'm saying? That tells us how the clients are feeling. So yeah.
and that's Lauren from Blue Dot Insights, just to let you guys know. So okay. All right. So we hear you and we accept that. But we have one more guest. Greg. So Greg, your boss introduced you as the equities guru at JMMB. Right? So you can just fully introduce yourself here. Let the guys know who you are and your function at JMMB.
Yeah, man. Good evening, everyone. Just stand up. So, I'm Greg Lindo. I'm the Assistant General Manager for Trading and Treasury. I am considered a man, but my duties stretch a little bit beyond that into the treasury side and funding and a lot of other things. So, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me, Keith and Simon. So, any questions, I'll be happy to take it.
Well, we have quite a few questions about JMMB's stock price. So, I mean, just to get the ball rolling into the questions with JMMB. So fundamentally, from the financials, the company has been growing pretty well, particularly after the acquisition of a portion of Sagicor Financial. When the APO was done, Greg, remember that's at $38, right? Price moved up to about 40 odd, and for a while stayed between 38 and let's say about 45, right? Until I think once it went up to like 60 over just a few days and came down back. I guess the blunt questions that a lot of retail investors would love to ask is, since doing the APO and getting that influx and seeing your balance sheet grow tremendously, the JMMB Bank is one of the fastest growing banks in Jamaica. JMMB Investments has the largest investment client base across the region. Why is the stock price not following up with the growth of the company?
Very, very good question. So, we did the APO late 2019, and everybody remembers what happened in March, April 2020 with COVID. And the stock had, despite with the fallout from COVID, I think the stock did pretty reasonably. But given where the multiple is and the performance since we've added Sagicor to our portfolio, the multiple is pretty low. It's at about 7 times. But multiples alone don't drive the stock price. I think that the market has definitely shown somewhat of a preference for certain kinds of stocks, right? And you have to really look at JMMB and the value that JMMB offers relative to other companies. So let's say if you look at us relative peers, these are the, I'd say, mid to large cap financial stocks. Year to date, we're probably beating most of them, right? Which kind of gives you an idea as to it's not a lagging, although we take note of it, and we want to look at ways to increase the value. It's something that is a little bit wider spread to just not just JMB. It's really a main market. Friends for junior market is more than the. So with that in mind, we have a number of things which this group CEO has done in terms of driving the value for the company through the results, which is a fundamental performance. And we've also now said, all right, we're going to bring in a share buyback program to take advantage of the value that the stock offers in terms of increasing EPS, right? Because as investors, you should really be concerned with the growth of EPS, growth of dividends. Those are your two main avenues to create wealth from stock market investing. So while JMB is not structurally a stock that you can expect large volatility in, I mean, 55% of the shares are held within its top 10 investors. What that tells you is that there's a large free float of shares out on the market. If you look at how we've traded, even year to date, over 3 billion worth of shares have traded just through normal activity. So typically, when you find a stock as liquid as ours, that does mean that, well, you may not necessarily get the that some persons may tend to like, but over time, there is no denying that the stock has given you value. It is a stock that I think also protects your portfolio in times of down markets too. So you may not necessarily get the 200% out of it like a Siboney in a few weeks, but certainly the consistent performance, the value that we've created, and the liquidity of the stock is a benefit to some. So it really depends on how you look on the stock, right? The cross trading is also a phenomena that you have to take into consideration, and it does impact the stock price too. JMMB was listed in Barbados, and we are listed, and we're one of the more heavily trading stocks in Trinidad. And it's important to take note of the cross-listeds, because you guys would be familiar with Guardian and Massey, NCB, Grace. And the thing with the cross-list is at certain periods of time when they're supplying Trinidad, investors tend to want to use those shares, buy the shares in Trinidad, sell them in Jamaica, then buy foreign exchange and send it back to wherever, right? Trinidad or wherever. So this invariably increases the supply of shares, and by extension, it can limit the stock price. And you may see it manifested in the other cross-listed shares that I've mentioned. But the key thing to note about JMMB is that no matter the supply that we see coming, we're always able to find ready buyers, which speaks to the confidence in the stock price and the fact that I said over 3 billion in secondary market trading, which has outpaced a number of our peers. So, but that in time can limit the movement, the upward mobility of the price, but it's never, it's temporary in some cases, because the supply in Trinidad doesn't last forever. So to the extent that the shares are not being recycled there, the supply dries up, which is what happens now. So if you look at the equivalent price of the cross listings, most times they're at a 20 to 30% premium in those markets. So people actually do that transaction, buying in Trinidad, selling in Jamaica, most times at a loss. But given the situation there and the limited access to foreign exchange, it's just a phenomenon that, you know, we have to adjust to. And I think that our market has done very well in terms of absorbing the supply that when it does come.
Thanks, Greg. So I'm not going to allow you to skip over the buyback part. So okay, sure. Keith is going to touch the buyback for us.
So when we said buyback program, everybody thinks it's big, huge buyback program, and then we're going to have be executing and buying back a lot of shares. The buyback program was approved for like 300 million, right, Greg? Initially, right? And we can always up that. Now, what that is about is when the stock is selling off for no fundamental reason, you want to be able to give it some support, right? Because if it's selling off just on some retail people selling off, then that is not fundamental about that. And what we have found is that we have to be able to give the stock a floor, right? But it's not like we have intense buyback program where we're going to buy back 5% of the shares outstanding. Not like that. It's just it's a mechanism to support the stock price.
So, team, can you tell us your floor price for JMMB stock?
No. So the floor price will have different technical levels. It depends on the levels. You see the levels of support, and it goes through levels of support. When you go through that level of support, you say, well, this is looking a little bit disorderly here now, like Richard Biles them, disorderly market, foreign exchange. When it gets a little disorderly, then you know we have to do something.
You know, Kate, as you said, Richard Biles, when you said there's a support line on the floor, I thought about B fix it. So I said this is more like a J fix it. You know, providing some demand in the market where that falls out.
Just to add, the important thing to note about the share buyback program is that it will be intermittent, and you know it has to be viewed against the background that this is company capital, right? So we have to manage it in a way that we're also maximizing the value that we're creating for shareholders. So yes, we buy back shares, or do we buy another company? Do we, you know? So all of that will be taken into consideration. Or do we buy back shares, or do we pay you a dividend? What do you want? Do you want us to buy back the shares or give you the money as a dividend? So things like that. It's a trade-off, but certainly we are monitoring the market, and where we see fluctuations or deviations from what we expect, then the buyback program will come into play.
Well, that answers a lot of questions about the timeline. That's one of the key questions that we got. They said, look, you guys said it would start April the 1st. Everybody, some were expecting on April the 1st for Greg's 300 million to be in the market, buying that as well. I want to start taking questions. I believe that we can. So we're on Twitter Spaces. Welcome, guys. There are over 120 people tuned in on Twitter Spaces. So we appreciate you being here. I believe we can take questions from Twitter Spaces or from the audience here. So, does anybody have any questions for the JMMB team? Malik, I see you come sitting up front and center. You have any questions? Don't be shy, you know. It's Uncle Keith. Okay. Any questions from the crowd? Oh, I have a question there. Hold on. We're working with one mic tonight. Oh, we can use the. You want me to use? Okay. All right.
Person for Greg.
I can't prepare.
Hello? Not here.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, you guys hearing me?
Yeah, man.
Oh, good night. Okay, so my question is related to your guys' customer relations. I think your bank has one of the best customer service teams in the country. So my question is, do you mind sharing those strategies that you use to train your customer service team so that I can bring it to my bank?
That's a good. It starts with the culture. It starts firstly with the culture and the focus on the client.
Oh,
So everything is around how do you. There's a thing about being possibility thinkers. There is a particular thing we do. My name Mary Goba. Mary Goba training. That's one you can look at, right? And it's about how do you always look for a way to respond that supports, that is positive, that is in your response. You know what I mean? So therefore, you're the first thing that if somebody come in and then you ask them to get about 20 documents to them account. How do you frame that conversation when you know you're going to leave the client in a bad place if you just say, see the checklist there, boss? Make sure you fill out everything and bring that in. No, that's not how you frame the conversation. You frame it in a way, how can we support you in getting to what you need to get to? We are here to ensure that we can get this done for you within a particular time frame. This is what we can do, and this is what you can do, and we can achieve that objective. You understand? So it's how you frame your conversation, how you have that conversation from a place of possibility rather than from a place of lockdown. In Jamaica, what we have a like a mentality sometimes where we have a like an authority thing where, where you the client, we have to make you like wrong. We have to make you the client feel like you're small. Because I am the boss, I am the man. I am, you know what I mean? It's in our public service, it's in some of our private sector, and it's something that we recognize, and we have to turn that around and turn that on its head.
thank you.
Thanks for that. Anybody else? Any questions? Trevor, we have any questions from Spaces? Any speakers there? Okay, all right, guys. Remember that you can request to be speakers and ask your questions. It should feed in. I have a few more questions for the team. So you mentioned the buyback. The buyback is about 300 million, as you said. We know that we're in a tough economic climate, and I suspect that as a financial group, which is a intermediary or a company that is tied to the economy and the movements of the economy, you may be having some challenges as well. Can you guys share some of those challenges that you're having and how you're seeking to resolve them?
Well, I think it's a shared pain across the industry. You know, I feel the pain to say, man? Okay. Okay, all right. Good. No, so we're in an inflationary environment, and we're in an inflationary environment where interest rates have been moved significantly. So October of last year, 6-month T-bill rate was about 2.5, 2.9% in that range, Greg.
Yeah.
And the last 6-month T-bill rate was about 7.9%. So so your funding structure, your liability structure is a lot of short-term money is in your liability structure. So one of your biggest earning streams or revenue streams is net interest income. That's the difference between what you earn on your deposits, on your investments, and your on your loans and your investments and your deposits and your funds and your repos, right? So that spread would narrow, so your net interest income get hurt. And if they move interest rates faster than you expect them budgeted, then you're impacted. And you're trying to protect your client as much as possible, right? By on the loan side, by ensuring that you don't move rates as fast as the central bank. But the central bank policy is designed for you to move your interest rates up and move on loans and move your deposit rates up to slow down domestic demand and slow down the ability of businesses to up their prices. That's the design of the central bank policy. So it's designed to hurt the financial sector and the private sector in order to keep inflation, protect the vulnerable in our economy, because our low income or lower income people that have a high percentage of their disposable income is in consuming just to pay their rent, pay their food, and etc. And inflation impacts them in a significant way. And you have to protect your most vulnerable. And also you have to maintain price stability. So we're not wrong, BOJ, you know. What we're saying is that they have a mandate to maintain price stability, and macroeconomic stability, price stability underlies macroeconomic stability, but that don't mean that we don't feel the pain. And we feel the pain on the net interest income. And when interest rates going up, because JMMB is a bunch of active traders, we have built that competency over the years, and everybody would see the gain on securities traded line, right? Heavy duty. Everybody know Mr. Kwame Brooks, him is a big bad trader, right? And you know, and as a result of that, you would see if interest rates going up, that an environment is not accommodative to that kind of thing. So you have to reduce volumes there. But the great thing about it is that you have diversification. So in a market like Trinidad, where they have not been impacted because they haven't moved interest rates, because they are favorable, because they have oil and gas. So they are doing okay. So therefore we'll see better performance out of Trinidad, or we should see. And then we'll see, you know, Sagicor, because they have diversification, because they have Sagicor USA, Sagicor Eastern Caribbean, Sagicor Jamaica. There's diversification also, so we get diversification of earnings. So the diversification really works for us, but it really hurts on income, active trading of fixed income securities. Greg continues to make some money still, you know what I mean, which is good, you know what I mean. So on the equity side, we continue to do okay. Greg?
Yeah, man.
All right.
So thanks for that, Keith. Do you guys want anything to drink? We have some red stripe, we have water, we have Pepsi. Can liquor? Oh, just water. All right, cool. So Shanti, you can help me that, please. All right, Greg, you need anything? Drink responsibly, you know. You can get a beer though, or you light. Oh, you start drink already. You can get something with a nice little. Sorry, you know, it's fancy. Nice and fun. All right. And guys, remember, there is liquor over there. Don't be shy. You can indulge responsibly. Trevon, you said you had yeah, we have Justin from Twitter. Justin, you can go ahead.
Hey, even so, it's a shame I can't drink. But I have a question regarding the digital transformation. COVID has made a lot of transformation in the market.
All right, so Twitter, until we start that out, what you can do is just tweet with the hashtag SOTR, and we will see the question and ask it. So Keith, you touched on Sagicor Financial. Oh, by the way, guys, I heard that one-on-ones prospectus is now out. So that's what is intended to be one of the newest company on the junior stock exchange. I'm told that a very special one is coming to discuss that. So guys on Twitter, you can share that and ask everyone to tune in. My question reads, Sagicor Financial, what is the strategy exactly? So I know, well, you said it, diversification is a part of the strategy. You purchased 20%. Is this something that you're waiting to strategically sell? Do we see any integration happening? So if Sagicor does insurance and you do insurance brokerage, maybe there is some, synergies there. How do you see that relationship developing?
Simon, that's work in progress. That is definitely work in progress. They like for example in Trinidad where Sagicor has their insurance arm, but they don't have a banking arm. There are opportunities for strategic alliance. So we're at the table, we're working it through. I think we have settled down. Everybody has built the trust because when another financial institution buy into another financial institution, there's going to be a little bit of like there's a little bit of uncomfortable tension going on initially, but no, everybody's in a very, very good place, where we can start to look to maximize synergistic opportunities.
Okay. That's a good answer. Oh, Greg?
Uh, I just want to add to that I know in Trinidad, as Keith had mentioned, there has been increased collaboration between the two entities, and we've also done good work with Sagicor, especially on the capital raising side. So we support them. Of course, we have an interest in them; they have an interest in us. So we continue to work on that dynamic to bear fruit.
And I know that Sagicor and JMMB have two of the largest retail investor bases in Jamaica. I think, well, the two largest, Greg, right? Also, Sagicor and JMMB's investment banking units or capital markets units, alongside Baritas, are some of the largest, of the largest deal sizes in the country. So definitely some synergies we should see, and there are some already synergies there. Trevor, did they tweet the question? Okay. Any other question from anybody here? Any other? Okay, we have a question around the back. Where's the mic again? Okay. No man, ask any question. Oh, is that a question for me or?
Since you mentioned one-on-one, just wondering if JMMB will be one of the brokers for one-on-one.
Well, we plan to, all deals, once, we like the deal and we think it's something that's good to show, we will try to have it on Moneyline. Of course, this is a decision of the lead broker. I have not seen the details yet, but once there's no objection, we certainly will look to have it available on Moneyline.
Okay, that one of the challenges that I've seen pointed out by the JMMB team before is that when it comes on to system updates, it's more, and I guess you can explain it. Why is it more difficult for JMMB to do that with a single integrated money line than maybe other financial partners that have separate systems? I don't know who.
Hard question, Sam. As I mentioned, our project portfolio is set up with a number of things in mind: digital services, enhancements, and also standardization. And as standardization, one of the goals, not only in terms of was also in terms of improving the systems that we have on the investment side. Because over the years, as JMMB grew and evolved, it was a hodgepodge of different systems that were integrated together in a very entrepreneurial environment. We had many different IT systems to serve the needs of the clients in a unique way. But that also means that as we seek to upgrade, it's more challenging because you're seeking to balance the upgrade of several different systems and several different integrations. So what standardization also brings is an opportunity for us to improve and migrate to a system that will be easier to upgrade, easier to maintain, and therefore you should see a shorter turnaround time in the long run for it, and not only upgrade but across the region as well, because the standardization also brings giving that base of upgrade across the lines within, right?
Let me say, Simon, when we made these acquisitions, right? Like in Trinidad, what was the name of the banking system in Trinidad before? Ovation. So it's just and everybody did more customization to it, and then there was a banking system in the DR, Easy Bank in the DR, and we had to integrate and put the Terminus platform across all three banks. Now, even our terminus platform that we had here in Jamaica, there were a lot of customizations. When you have customization, they make life difficult, right? So therefore, we had to see how we can streamline, and that's why upgrades would take so long, because you have all different platforms and customizations on the platforms. And what we have been trying to do is to really simplify the architecture so that we whenever we move quickly and efficiently.
Okay. Thanks, Keith. And I guess a way that I look at it is Moneyline is built up to kind of support all the systems. On the front end, at least. I don't know about the back end. The banking, because I can go at my JMMB bank, investments, and whatever other product that I have on one platform. So I kind of see it like Jenga, where if you're trying to upgrade a portion for the JMMB investment side, change something, it may affect how the system works for the banking clients. And the downtime probably is more costly because it's across your entire group, because Moneyline is the interface there. There are a few items that we were asked to suggest to you, upgrades that could be made to Moneyline, and these two especially in front of Keith are the best persons to have speak on that. So I use the Moneyline system as well, and the portion that allows you to apply for IPOs. What myself and a few others would have suggested is that, as it pertains to the JMMB investments and the portfolio tracking side. So we saw where the stock market update got a lot better. But on the portfolio tracking side, why is it that when I go on my dashboard, I can't see the price that I bought it for and the price that it is at today? Also, why is it that I have to search to cancel? So I have to go through the entire Moneyline system to find how I cancel a trade. This is Greg laughing because he probably have.
Yeah, Greg.
Yes, boy, I came prepared. So, we acknowledge the problems and we have been working on it. Moneyline, when we had launched this version of Moneyline, a lot of the capabilities, even with linking to the stock exchange, never existed. So what has happened is we have tried to build out Moneyline in an agile way to provide the features that you now have. The portfolio reports it is lacking, right? I mean, it's something that I complain about as well. And what I can tell you is that in the redesign, in the upgrades, in the next version of Moneyline, which is coming, you can expect a platform that will be built more purposefully towards traders. What you have now is something that we have done our best to try and ease some of the pain points by. Yeah, Moneyline, we had Moneyline trading stocks back in 2005. Nobody had a platform. We wanted it straight through from then, but the JC had other plans. But here we are now, and we are trying to listen to the feedback and make improvements. But at this time, where we are with it, I don't think, if we do anything else, that might cause issues. Right? We actually have a nice redesign, which will have all of the traders' needs that we're trying to touch on to provide it in that. In terms of short-term fixes, I mean, we're seeing what's the best way to provide a solution. But don't think we don't have it in mind. We're thinking about it. We're working on it, and I think the next version should address a lot of these pain points.
And to be clear, when the timeline again, so you can say it in the mic.
Well, I mentioned the digital platform program. The Moneyline upgrade and redesign is a part of that. So the same program that's delivering the app is the same one that's delivering this as well. Because as you know, you have to have some integration across the channels and so on. So that's definitely on the verge, right?
Well, very, very ambitious rollouts over that September period. So I'll be watching for sure. And I believe, well, so that's by the end of quarter then, basically. Yeah. So it's by the end of quarter. Kevin, I see you laughing. You have pain points with the Moneyline system. It's the perfect people to ask. You know. All right, you're fine. All right. Are there any more questions? Oh, Trevon, we got the question from just okay. Any more questions from the team here? All right, Malik. You can. Well, Malik is close, so. Yeah, man. This is
Right.
Oh, you know Malik.
Yeah, man.
Oh, you do? Oh, nice to meet you, sir. Good night, everyone. I came late, so I'm just asking about the credit card. I read earlier that JMMB is working on a credit card. When is the estimated time frame for that? Oh,
So I had mentioned earlier, credit card is definitely in our pipeline of projects. It's not as far in execution as would be the Moneyline redesign or the mobile app. We would just be about to enter the planning phases for that. But as we had said, we're looking into all options for expanding in our payment services. We're keeping the clients' demands and desires and best interests at heart there. There are other factors outside of the technicalities of execution, such as regulatory approvals and so on. And so as we have more details on that and we get farther in the planning, we'll be in a position to share a better estimate of the timelines for that. But yeah, it's definitely on the plate. It's definitely in the pipeline. And so we're just working to push out the things that we know have had in execution for a while that everyone has been waiting on and make space to get deeper in the planning for that. Right?
Yeah, let me add to that. Yeah, Malik. What we have on the is a point of sale solution though, and it's a point of sale slash e-commerce solution, and that is in pilot right now, and that is going to be big for the JMMB group. Why? Because JMMB has a huge corporate client base, and we have not been able to really cross sell our products as much as we want and to get the operating accounts of the corporates. With the point of sale solution and what we call our corporate money line, where we have a bulk upload solution and payment solution, it will allow us to integrate our efforts right across banking and investments to offer corporates a greater value proposition. That's one that we're really looking forward to. And that at the end of the day, what will that do? That will also bring down your average deposit, your cost of funds, because you're talking about stable funds. Well, everybody know about the fee policy at JMMB, right? We're not licking anybody. All we're saying, our fee policy is that value added, we can charge value added fees. That we have to be delivering a value before we charge. We reassess every year, and there's cost recovery, and then we don't have nuisance fees. We try and minimize charging nuisance fees. That is the policy of the JMMB group. So therefore, our fees business line, revenue line won't look as healthy as others, right? But then we have to figure out then how do we, really get the best value for the customer. And the best value for the customer is being able to cross-sell them products and services by helping them to use each product and service to meet their goals, aspirations, right? So you cross-sell all the products. So therefore, you get more revenue streams from your clients, but you reduce the nuisance and the pain to the clients from the fees.
So thanks. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Malik.
to add in something. There's 700 banks, so how do you intend to compete or make the deal better for customers? Probably.
And I want to add tack on something to Malik's question. Justin's point as well, I think, links in some way. So Justin on Twitter said COVID necessitated many remote solutions in the Jamaican banking sector, of which JMMB did some as well. What are JMMB's plans for digital branches, closing branches, and remote work for employees?
In terms of just high level, and then Jessica can take this, right? High level, JMMB has how many branches? About 11, right? Right, in Jamaica. No, so we don't have a lot of brick and mortar. And we consider them like we have a hub and spoke with a hub, omni-channel. The hub being those 11 branches, and then you have the digital experience outside of that. So the plan is that you must have a hub because there must be somewhere where people can come in and do their business. But the plan is not to expand the footprint. And with the 11 branch in Jamaica, you don't need to expand. You don't need to reduce that. You can integrate. And you see us going up in Ligani. We're putting the bank a branch in Ligani, and we're moving the bank head office from where it is. Yes, yeah, that is JMMB going up right there, right? So we're moving the branch from Grenada to Ligani, our own property, with that parent. You understand? Jessica, there was other question was Malik. Or compete. Well, I mean, we compete based on one, that you're fair in your fees. Two, that when you sit with a client, you're offering them a variety of products and services. You try and deliver our loan structuring, origination, capital markets is the most flexible, most agile in terms of structuring loans, etc. Second to Simon. Well, Simon learned from somewhere, right? You know, him learned somewhere. Okay. He's really a member of the JMB family, but we say, all right, Simon, go on. Okay. But is a structuring. The structuring is important to meet when you understand the needs of the client and what they can absorb and what they can do, then you structure accordingly. That is a key differentiator for JMMB. You're in the world of the client and you structure to meet their needs.
Client first.
Client first for sure. And Keith, just to expand on what you said a little, the omni-channel experience. Part of what is a big component of our project portfolio, and Keith mentioned earlier as well, the simplified architecture. As we're thinking through our upgrades, we're thinking through our IT infrastructure. Delivering on this omni-channel experience is key for us. So as we said, we're prioritizing digital, delivering in the digital space. But what the omni-channel experience does, it says, if you're coming to the branch, and you want to continue the process in a digital channel, or you start on a digital channel and you want to come into the branch to complete. That is what we're thinking through, delivering through our project portfolio. And that is, we have a couple projects in the pipeline, and also some partnerships with our fintech companies that are helping us think through and build out the capability to deliver that seamless omnichannel experience that ensures the consistency in client experience across the channels, and also the seamless integration. And then I think there was a point touching on remote work for sure. That has, that's an aside, but as a team member, we've definitely had a thrust towards remote working arrangements, and there are some teams that lend itself to that more than others. But or as Keith mentioned, because people is at the center and we have a culture and human development team, they would have been thinking through how best to configure ourselves to leverage that ability to be able to have some team members work remotely, especially as it was advanced in the COVID period.
Let me tell you how remote work. This is the first time I've seen Jessica in 2 years, physically. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for that, guys. I want to thank Greg and Jessica for coming and breaking down exactly what's being done in terms of the project specifically related to JMMB Bank, JMMB Investments. Greg, the JMMB's equity guru. I'm a guru in training, so by the way, I learn a lot from Greg. Greg has a lot of deep market knowledge. So when I said, Greg, has this ever been done in the Caribbean? And Greg sent me a prospectus from all 2011. And so, oh yeah, man, that was done way back then. I guess and just to keep it brief, because we want to drift into the Project Star to talk about that as well. We got a few questions about that. The final question, Greg and Keith, why in 2019 did you guys do an APO instead of a rights issue? Why didn't given that the market, the trading market in particular, is more receptive to a rights issue, and that may have supported the price a bit more? Why do an APO instead of a rights issue?
Thank you, sir. Well, so JMMB was the first institution in Jamaica to do an APO. So at the time, the sentiment around APOs were different, right? They were non-existent. But of course, APOs would have been done in other jurisdictions. You would have had first citizens that did an APO, so we'd have been familiar with the mechanism. So at the time, we had the major transaction at the time, which was Sagicor, and through consultation with some of our large shareholders, I mean, this is not a decision that we came to unilaterally. We consulted with, pockets of liquidity. The decision was taken to do a APO. And as you recall, that APO was successful, and it was oversubscribed. Subject to no, I mean, the sentiment has obviously changed, coming out of the share price not probably appreciating as it.
Touch on that. Somebody's asking, do you care about the share price at all?
I think we do. I mean, if we didn't care, we wouldn't be doing all what we're doing now, right? We wouldn't be making acquisitions. We wouldn't be investing in technology. We wouldn't be trying to grow our portfolios. All of that is aimed at increasing shareholder value. Now, the stock price may lag, which we notice, and I mean, as we went through earlier, there are things that we will do to try and adjust that. But as I say, you have to look at the stock in a very practical way, right? It's not a limited float small cap company. It's widely distributed, widely held, widely traded, and that in itself will have an impact on the trading dynamic of the stock. Not everything we can control. There are some things outside of our control, but certainly where we can drive shareholder value, we definitely will. But it has to be balanced, as I mentioned earlier, right? We have to balance the needs of the company for the buyback program. Can't buy back at the expense of not making an acquisition or driving value creation, because ultimately we want to increase shareholders' equity. That's our goal.
And let me say, one of the most important things, and we have started an investor relations program where at the end of every quarter, we sit with the investment community and we explain where we are, what the thinking is, and that's why I would have grabbed an opportunity like this, because this is the future. And you guys are plugged in, and you guys are very savvy. And therefore, if I am able to, and we as a team are able to explain and have you understand what JMMB is about and how, as JMMB, it is a defensive play, one, because of our diversification. It is also a growth stock because of our continued plans for expansion. It's also one where we are looking to enhance value through efficiency and through delivery of the client experience. So we are constantly thinking, constantly moving. Some things, the JMMB team think we push too hard sometimes, and we do. And sometimes we have to sit and reset and say, you know what, we have tried too much thing one time. So we have to reset, reprioritize, and go again. You know what I mean?
No.
And just to note, I mean, if at any point in time in the future where we do decide that additional capital will be needed, I mean, we will consult with the market and get their feedback as well. So if it's a rights issue that they want, they get a rights issue. We are not opposed to it.
All right, thanks again, JMMB team, for the second time. We want to drift into Project Star. So Keith, where's